Okay, so like I said, I'm going to tell you guys a couple of things that I'm not going to break down the price of my apartment. Like, I'm going to definitely tell you some costs that you are going to have if you are looking for a place in China. This is just for me now, but some costs that I had to pay for when I got here. So, first is, let's go over how long my lease is. My lease is for 1 year. I know you can do shorter periods of time. I don't know if that affects your rent, but yeah. So my lease is for 1 year. I signed it December of 2018 and it ends in December of 2019. With that being said, yeah, I guess I have a 1 year lease. Second thing, what's included or what cost did I have to pay up front? So up front, I personally had to pay first month's rent, security deposit, which is equivalent to first month's rent, and then I had to pay half of first month's rent to my realtor who assisted me in finding this place. Then I had to pay building fees, and then I had to pay a security deposit on my lights and utilities. Now, I feel like that may seem like a lot, but I can break down to you what other complexes require. I don't know if it's just expats in general or just any person that is renting an apartment from a complex. They have to pay 2 months worth of security deposit, which is equivalent to 1 month's rent. Then they have to pay their first month's rent. They have to pay their building fees. They have to pay that realtor that assisted them in finding the place half of their first month's rent. And then they have to turn on their lights and their water. So that's another deposit in itself. So 6 versus my 5 that I had to pay. Of course, I would definitely take that. I was able to save, what people are paying for their deposit, give or take. I was able to save that and buy things that I needed like immediately for my place. So yeah. So I did have to come up off a little bit of money. So I'm not going to share how much I actually pay for rent, but I am going to share some cost that was associated with me moving in. And if you guys want to know how much I paid for rent, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So things that were associated, the cost, one would be they required me to pay a deposit on my utilities. They set an amount, and I think it was like $350 or $450. They wanted me to pay on my deposit, which I feel like is good thinking about it now, because having that deposit money, I didn't have to pay. Actually, yes, I did. I lied. But I knew other people that moved in the same time as me that did not have to pay for their first month because it took out of that deposit. So that was really good. But for whatever reason, my first month's bill was like 750 kwai. So it just ate my deposit completely, and then I had to put more money on it. But like, I guess I'm like halfway. Like, I don't like to have things like halfway, if that makes sense. So when I found out that I used that much electricity, I ended up putting 1,000 kwai on my deposit on my bill. After I got the first month, I put 1,000 on there, and then that was in January, and I don't have to pay again until March, give or take, and I'm not expecting all of that to even be used in March. Actually, no, I put that on in December. I put it on in December, and then it's running me from January, February, and then March. I think all of March. If not, like, I'll have to put some on in the middle of March. But from this, I am definitely more conscious of like turning off my lights, things like that. Like, those lights behind me are actually battery operated, so I don't really have to worry about them. But yeah, turning off my lights and, not running water like all the time. I mean, I don't think I just leave on the sink whenever, but just like, I'm just more mindful after that first month. And my bill was like $750. Well, 750 kwai. I was just like, we got to be more conscious of what we're doing. Okay, so I had to pay that deposit of $450, and then I had to pay building fees. So my building fees, and that's something I wasn't used to, but I guess it's like for the maintenance of whatever, if that makes sense. But my building fees, I pay those monthly, and those are $190. So 190 off bat, it's not included in my rent. It's something separate, even though I pay it together with my rent. A lot of places here have building fees, and those building fees can apply to different things. You can also ask either your realtor, or like your management there, like what's included in the building fees. Like that just might be you being able to use your key card. If you have a trash service, that might be like the convenience of you just like walking your trash down the aisle versus taking it to a dumpster. Like different things. So I don't know specifically what my building fees go to, but I mean, it's okay. Like I'm not really tripping about them, even though it is kind of expensive. Like I don't really have too many complaints. Like the elevator is always working. The trash is barely ever piled up at our bin. At the end of the hallway. There's no like weird smells. I never see like just weird stuff going on in the building where I'm just like, well, I pay $190 for this not to be going on, and it's going on. Like I've never had that, so I'm okay with that. So that's $190 that I pay. Something else that is included in my rent, which I'm so thankful for, is my internet. Like you don't even know how sometimes hectic I've heard that it is about internet in your apartment. Like I know people that don't even have internet at their house because one, the expense, and I guess two, like the hassle it would be for you to try to communicate to try to get internet, what packages, like all that good stuff. So I'm so thankful for the fact that internet is included in my rent. I've never had, well, let me pump my brakes. I have had some issues with my internet, but like now, and each apartment has its own router. So of course we all have the same password for our routers, but since each apartment has their own router, like it's just your device is connected to the internet. So, and I can connect my phone, my laptop, my speaker. I only have 3 devices, and I can connect all 3 of those at the same time. Like I can talk to Alexa back there. I can be surfing the internet, and then, I mean, I could be watching something on my computer, and then I could be like on Instagram or something. Like I've never had an issue where it was not working. What I felt like was like fast or whatever. So I'm so thankful for that. So internet is included in my rent. That is something that you can actually like see if can be included in your rent. Like if you're searching or whatever, like definitely ask, do you have any places that have internet included or lights and utilities included? Like there are places that have these things included. You just have to know what type of questions to ask and things like that. So I am going to be honest, I did talk down my rent. I'm still not going to disclose what I pay, but I did talk my rent down maybe 300 kwai. So that was definitely good. Like 300 kwai can do a lot. Yeah, for me anyway, 300 kwai, that can like be my eating out expense for the whole month. Like the fun stuff. The pros of my living here. I have 5. The first one, which my internet included in my rent. Like I noticed that I play with my hair sometimes too often. But yeah, like internet being included for me is like it's a big pro for me. 2, the metro. So I'm about a 5-minute walk, not even, from the local metro station, and it's never crowded. And I guess like people that live in China would know, like, oh my gosh, the metro is just sometimes can be a headache in itself. But you definitely get used to it. But my metro stop is actually the first stop, and I don't have to transfer to get to work. Like I just get on, I ride a couple of stops, and then I'm at work. So the fact that my metro is the first stop, that means there's always a seat available. And I know that might sound like really lazy, like you can stand up on the metro. No. Here you want to sit down, okay? There's a lot that goes on in the metros. You would be surprised, but I'm always eager to sit down when I can. So the fact that this is the first metro stop and there's no people on there, I can get a seat 9.8 out of 10 times of the time, is a relief for me. So, and like not have to like elbow people and fight people to try to get on, because most of the time there's only like 50 people on the metro. Okay, so that's that. 2, my area is not a super busy area. Of course, it's well traveled, but as far as like people just wandering and walking and stuff like that, there's not a lot directly where I'm at for people to just be like, you know, running into random people, sketchy stuff going on, stuff like that. It's not that it's not busy like that, which is something I also enjoy, or I like about my place. Now, the commute to work is something that's also really like, that's a pro for me. My commute is, if maybe total, I can get to work in 30 minutes. And that's like walking to the metro, getting on the metro, and then walking to my actual job. Like the walk from the metro to my job is maybe like a 10-minute, not even. I'm a little slow sometimes. It's anywhere from like 8 to 10 minutes to actually get to work once I get off the metro, which is not bad to me. Like, trust me, I'm getting in my steps, but total, I can get to work in about 30 minutes, which that is something that I'm okay with. I think those are all my pros. So let's go into cons. I don't know if I'm going to insert the clip of my apartment before or after, but if I do it after, my kitchen, even if I do it before, a con is my kitchen. The con is my kitchen. A con is my kitchen. Okay? I did not put enough thought and effort into like really, like that's something I frustrate myself about, because I do love to cook and I love to eat, but not thinking like, your kitchen, you need a proper kitchen. And when I say a proper kitchen, I mean one that has a stove and not a hot plate, or an oven and not a hot plate, you know, like, yeah. So that was, I guess maybe I was just like in a rush, or I didn't think that it was going to be that serious for me. And then like, I don't even really know how to use my hot plate that well. Of course I can cook on it, but you should have seen me like the first 3 or 4 weeks, I was burning stuff on the wok and the hot plate because I didn't know my settings. I still don't know my settings, but it's better and my food is now edible again. But view is another con. So if I were a couple of floors higher, I would have a beautiful mountaintop, very scenic. 2 mountaintops are literally right on the other side of this building that's in my, like the view from my balcony. Instead, I have a tree and another apartment complex, which there's kids always playing outside, and they're sometimes loud, and I sometimes hear them crying and stuff. Like, I don't want to wake up to a crying kid, you know, but it is what it is. So my view, I'm not saying that it's like hideous, but I have a tree. Just a tree and a building is all I have back there. And then 3, it's not really a con. It's just like, I don't really know what it is. A con would be like the size or the space of my apartment. Like most apartments in China are very small, and like they have so many different ways of like storaging and like making the most out of their space. Like underneath my bed, there's like storage underneath there. Then I have my desk, there's storage. In my closet, there's storage. On my balcony, there's storage. Like, there's storage in a lot of different... So this is actually the end of my video. For whatever reason, I forgot to say like, comment, subscribe, like, comment. And thank you guys so much for tuning into my video. Until next time, bye!